You know, it really goes back to January. They've been consistent all the way through, and excuse me, never sure who's going to emerge as your leaders, and we've got a bunch of them. Certainly, we've settled in. The four captains seem to have done that, but you know, we've got a lot of guys right now really doing a good job in that regard, and not all of them are starters. Jade Montgomery was not a starter, you know, but he's been on the leadership group the entire way through it. The guys just, you know, they just come to work every day with a great attitude and work hard. They realize there's ups and downs in sports. So, yeah, I think they're certainly setting the bar for everybody else on the football team. And some of the younger guys are better than others, you know, at least queuing in on what to do and how to do it. And that's part of the process too. But no, they've been really good. I think very steady, and you know, based on yesterday and today, nobody's been discouraged. They're working hard, and they know we got a big challenge in our hands right now.
David Eichel, HawkeyeInsider.com. Kirk, a couple of your players talked about when you reflected on last year's West Coast trip to UCLA that you guys may have probably lost the game before it was played. I guess felt like the preparation was good, but they just weren't ready to play. What'd you kind of learn about going to the West Coast last year? I know it was a Friday night, a little bit different, but just how can you kind of make that change heading into this matchup?
Yeah, I really think it's more. The only one if factor I'll put in there to acknowledge that the West Coast trip a year ago was a night game, and those are a little bit of a challenge. I'll admit that, but I don't see this one. This is 2:40 Central Time, if you want to look at it that way. So it's not a big a deal. But I think our issue last year in the UCLA game was more just our approach to the game mentally, in my opinion. They were not a team really interested in running the football a year ago. And I'm not sure they wanted to run the ball against us, quite frankly, until we got into the game and we didn't show much interest in playing the run. And then, you know, it just became obvious they needed to stay with it. And big difference from Saturday. Like, we had total respect for Oregon in every regard, obviously. And, you know, they were still able to run the ball better than we like. But it wasn't because we weren't ready for it. And, you know, I just didn't think we were ready mentally against UCLA last year in the run game. And probably some other areas too, where we left some things out there. So to me, it was more about our approach going into that game than it was where it got played or who we were playing, but just our mental approach. And this team so far, this 2025 team is each and every week, and from my vantage point, they've really prepared well, and they've gone out and competed with the right attitude, and that's what it takes to give yourself a chance to be successful.
Chad Lace, Dakota Des Moines Register. Gronowski was telling us that you guys don't specifically practice 2-point conversions. I know that's been it's cost you guys in Iowa State loss last year, cost you this week. Mm-hmm. What has been your philosophy on 2-point plays, like in terms of practicing them? Has it changed over with different coordinators, NFL? Any kind of inspiration you've had on that, or leader?
Yeah, I mean, we practice that situation in camp. I won't say frequently, but we do it. It's part of the checklist, and you go through it. But we work in the red zone, every week, obviously, and meet on it every week and have a plan for it. So, yeah, to that point, we always practice that. So it's going to be something out of that menu, if you will, or that part of the game plan. It's a specific part of the game plan, from the 5 in. And so it's going to come out of that playlist typically. And truth be told, last week, Saturday, the point we ended up going to 4 downs. So it was on the 4th down that we used our best 2-point play, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. So maybe if we could have scored on the one of the first 3 plays, then we would have had a good 2-point play ready, or at least the best one. So it just didn't work out.
Hey, Kirk, Hawkeye Insider. Wanted to ask about Kamari for how he's reached a new level this year, but at the same time, seems like he's just a shoestring tackle away from a big play, if not one time a game, multiple times a game. I guess Caleb Johnson was like that a little bit for a little while. How can he reach that next level and make those explosive plays?
Yeah, I think he's been climbing with each year. We've seen him do good things, all the way through it. And last year he was a number 2 back, and Caleb was clearly the number 1 guy. I think Kamari just has subtly improved in every facet of his game. He's always been pretty good in terms of versatility and being well balanced. A little bit stronger now, a little bit more physical than he was a year ago or 2 years ago, certainly. But has good vision, can make good cuts, all those types of things. And I don't know that he'll ever be a power runner, but he'll continue to get a little bit better. And we've really been pleased with what he's done thus far. I don't think there's any big dramatic step that he's made, but I think he just continually improves. And you know, he's a really good back, so we're really comfortable anytime he's in the game. Going back to Caleb last year, I think as much as anything, it was a matter of focus, which, you know, in year 3, that's kind of where the light really came on for him. And the other thing he learned how to do last year was use what he had. He was always a big, strong, powerful guy, but didn't always run that way. And then last year, he really learned how to use his strengths and abilities to, you know, benefit his production.